Who else gets landed in their chair like that in the vinyl community? That's trivia for you. See if you can drop a comment below and guess who else does that. Anyway, today I just was looking for something different to talk about and just watching videos like I do. This guy. Yes, I'm still techno disabled, whatever. Not tech savvy, so I don't know how to embed photos and whatever. I'm too lazy to learn. This is Doug Anderson right here. And Doug did a pretty cool video not long ago where he did an artist from every state in the United States. I mean, exhaustive research that must have taken the guy to do it. And he also likes a lot of vintage country, which is cool to me. And so this is a photo still from Doug's very first video that he did, where he just basically did an introductory video, walked through the whole alphabet A to Z, A to Z for my Canadian friends, and just to kind of get to know him and introduce himself to the vinyl community. And if there is a more decaffeinated guy in the vinyl community than Doug, please tell me who. Doug is so chill, very relaxed. But anyway, yeah, he does shows a lot of good tunes, a lot of good records, and that's what this is all about. So anyway, I wanted to try what Doug did in that introductory video right there, where he did an A to Z, like I said. So let's get cracking. I don't want to be here all day, all night, keep you people up. I'll try to be brief, but brevity's never been my strong suit, but I'll do my very best. Letter A, April Wine, live at the Alamo Combo. Kind of a cool story with this one. This was in 1977. The Alamo Combo is a club. It still is in Toronto, downtown. Not a very big club. I've been in it. And the story goes, the Rolling Stones used to always rehearse in Toronto before they kick off a North American tour. And when they were almost ready to hit the road, they would perform a couple of club shows under a pseudonym. And that's what was going on this night. So April Wine, I don't know if they knew what was coming. I think they had to know. They opened for the Rolling Stones at the Alamo Combo. So that's what this live set is right here. And it features a lot of early April Wine on this. Drop Your Guns, Slowpoke, Ooh What a Night. And Tonight is a Wonderful Time to Fall in Love. That's a nice ballad. In the back, I don't know. So the Alamo Combo, yeah, they had a bit of a tropical theme, but for whatever reason in that club, kind of thought you were in Florida. I can remember it was kind of tacky place, but it's still kicking. And a legendary live club. Just take a quick look on the inside here. This is a gatefold. Just lyrics on the inside here, nothing special. And yeah, you don't see this label around much. Aquarius, the label for that one. So that's April Wine, live at the Alamo Combo in 1977. Letter B, sorry for that reflection. It's Duncan Brown, The Wild Places. Duncan Brown, formerly of a band called Metro, with another gentleman named Peter Godwin. This plays like a Brian Ferry solo album. That's why I bought it when I first heard the title track called The Wild Places. And yeah, it's just like Roxy music. Even his look here, and he's got the hot model chick down here, and he's on some beach wearing his white suit. That's kind of Don Johnson before there was Don Johnson. But this release was, I want to say, 1978, and this was his first solo, I believe. So The Wild Places, Roman Vicu is another good one on this, and Planet Earth, and Camino Real is in 3 parts on here. And of course, Simon Phillips, actually, the session drummer, played a lot with Pete Townsend, among others. He's on this album too, and there's a silhouette of the cover on the front photograph. So that's Duncan Brown for the letter B. And to Chicagoland for the Chi Lights, for a little R&B, soul, whatever you want to call it. I'd call this more like soul. But yeah, these guys had been active at this point. This is their 5th or 6th release. And yeah, there's a couple of minor hits. This isn't a great Chi Lights album. I want to get some more. I'm a fan. The title track on this, Toby's, pretty good. And the first time ever I saw Your Face, that's a Roberta Flack cover they do on this. So for the letter C, there's the guys right there. It's the Chi Lights right there. Toby. Letter D, little classic country. It's the great Dave Dudley. If you like old vintage country songs about trucking, he's your man, Dave Dudley. And this is songs about the working man. Of course it is. 6 Days on the Road. I know you've probably heard that unless you've been living under a rock. What's the other big one on here? 16 Tons. Yeah, that's trucking anthem. And the original release date on this one's 1963. This is, I believe, a repressing of it. I'm not sure of the year on it, but this is great. Here are the big-fisted songs about the men that built this nation right there. So that's Dave Dudley. songs about the working man. Letter E, Electric Flag. Electric Flag, of course, centered around Mike Bloomfield on lead guitar. And this band, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-piece band. No, 8. I got to learn to count. There they are all in the back right there, the personnel. And this is Long Train Coming. Probably the highlight on this one for me is Killing Floor and And Groovin' is Easy. They do a version of that too, which is pretty good. But this is pretty solid psych blues if you like that kind of thing, and I do. And it's Electric Flag for the letter E. Wow, technical difficulties here. This is Filter. This band was formed around guitarist Richard Patrick, who'd formerly been with 9 Inch Nails, of course, with Trent Reznor. He's the front man there, running the show at 9 Inch Nails. So this was mid-90s. Release date on this one, I want to say 1995. And of course, the big hit on this one in the clubs at the time was Nice Shot Man. And yeah, there was a couple of other tracks on this one that aren't too bad, but that's the main one. And there's on the inner. Looks like this must have seen a few parties. This jewel box has been separated. But that's F and that's Filter. You never hear about those guys. They had a couple albums and they're kind of like, there was a lot of bands that tried to sound like 9 Inch Nails, but they were one of the ones that did the best job of it, in my opinion. That's the letter F and that's Filter. Letter G, these two guys, Dave Wakeling right here and Ranking Roger, formerly in the English Beat. This is General Public, and this is their debut called All the Rage. And this is really great. Hot You're Cool, Tenderness was a huge hit on this. Yeah, and of course, they have a song called General Public, which is the name of the band. There's some of the other personnel on the back, but that's All the Rage, General Public for the letter G. Ranking Roger, rest in peace. Harlequin, yeah, for the letter H, going up to Canada. From Winnipeg, also home of Guess Who, Bachman Turner Overdrive. There was quite a music scene up there in the 70s. This album, I want to say, was 1980, and this is Harlequin's debut. Of course, if you live in Canada and you listen to classic rock FM, the track Innocence is played incessantly because there's rules in Canada for Canadian content. I believe it used to be 20% of the playlist. Every hour has to be Canadian, and that's why you hear Harlequin a lot. But that's a good song, and I can't even remember any of the other ones on here. I've had this since I probably bought this when I was in 7th or 8th grade, and I still have it. There they are right there on the back, Harlequin. And this one, of course, called Love Crimes. Letter H. All right. I'm heading to the land down under. It's In Excess. I want to say this is their 3rd studio album. It's called Shabu Shaba. Yeah, of course, the late, great Michael Hutchence on lead vocals. I saw the later incarnation of the band in summer of 02, that would have been. And they opened for Simple Minds in Toronto at the old Molson Amphitheater. And my friends in Toronto would know that. I think it's called the Budweiser something now, but back then that's what it was called, the Molson Amphitheater. And the new frontman they had, God, he was a dead ringer for Michael Hutchence, and he did a pretty good job of it. But of course, Hutchence, I don't know, it was like a unexpected sort of unintentional kind of sex suicide thing. Some wacky thing he got into, and it got the better of him. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. That was probably around 97 he passed. And then the band was in hiatus for a while and got that new singer. On this one, it kicks off, it actually opens and closes with the 2 charting singles from this. It opens with The One Thing and closes with Don't Change. 2 excellent songs by In Excess from their 3rd release for the letter I. All right, and it's the Jazz Butcher Conspiracy, formerly known as simply just the Jazz Butcher, centered around frontman Pat Fish. Personnel came and went with this band, but he was the core member. If you like the Smiths, Camera Obscura, that kind of quirkiness, you'd love the Jazz Butcher if you don't already know them. And this is a good one too. On this one, Falling in Love, Hungarian love song. Who Loves You Now is probably my favorite. But yeah, this plays like a Smiths album. Quirky, funny lyrics, very deadpan. Some nice pictures on the inside here. There's a collage. You know, there's the lyrics. This is actually a double album. There's Pat Fish right there, I believe, right there on the inside. So yeah, it's double, bunch of extra songs on here too, with Vienna Song, and Peter Lorre is actually good, a song about the late great actor. All right, and where are we now? Well, that was J. So what comes after J? K, like MGK, all right? Or BB King. So this is an album he did. It's a bunch of, I won't call them duets, but he just got together with a whole bunch of people. Well, they are duets. What am I saying? Duet with Robert Cray, like Playing With My Friends is the name of that. Does a really killer version with the Iceman himself. That's Albert Collins. They do a version of Call It Stormy Monday. Definitely look that up. So BB King and Albert Collins doing Stormy Monday. And yeah, Coco Taylor's on this, Something You Got. That's great. This is really, really good compilation. John Lee Hooker's on this, Buddy Guy, Joe Louis Walker. I mean, yeah, it's a who's who right here. I think there's actually some nice liner notes on this with this. Yeah, you can see here's all. There's Robert Cray down there. Yeah, so, and all the others here. Coco Taylor right there. Yeah, I'm a big blues fan. I haven't bought a lot in a while. The last couple of shows I've been to, it's very, very expensive. It's more expensive than jazz stuff now. I don't know why, but it's just a category that seems to be, or a genre that's expensive, and it'll retract eventually, like everything else in this crazy marketplace that we're dealing with these days. But it's BB King for the letter K. All right. Well, I got such a stack of wax here. Got the better of me and fell over. Oh, I'm exhausted and only halfway through the alphabet. L. Need to go back to school. I'm having a hard time spelling today, let alone doing the alphabet. It's Little Feat, of course. Waiting for Columbus. One of my favorite. This is definitely in my top 10 of live albums. I need to do another video. I did when I first started my channel. I did a favorite live album video. And I think I included this one. If I didn't, I don't know what I was thinking that day. But anyway, of course, the front man Lowell George on this one. I mean, this is stacked. Join the Band, Fat Man in the Bathtub, Time Loves a Hero, Oh Atlanta, Old Folks Boogie, and Don't Bogart That Joint. Poor Etiquette. Also the name of this song on record 4. There it is. Don't Bogart That Joint. Love the Tomato Lady. I'd like to get that in a poster. That's just really cool. Having a little rest in the hammock. Yeah, and here's just, I like that note there. No admission to anyone wearing biker gear, motorbike gear, or any metal studded clothing. You will not be admitted. Strict dress code at a Little Feat concert. There's the personnel right there. There they are on the stage. So that's Little Feat for the letter L. Waiting for Columbus. Essential, people. Essential. All right. So what started as a British invasion band is simply called Manfred Mann, eventually evolved into Manfred Mann's Earth Band. I would consider this album, I use that word essential, I don't throw it around lightly. Nightingales and Bombers, it's essential. It's a real trip, and the musicianship on this is just incredible. Of course, frontman Manfred Mann on organs and synthesizers. The guitar player on this, a guy named Mike Regans, I don't know if I can say it, I can't read the writing on this. It's all in cursive. But some of the highlights on this one, of course, Spirit in the Night. That's a Bruce Springsteen cover. As Above, So Below is a live version on this. As Above, So Below. Look that up. That's really great. There's the guys right down there. Of course, there's Manfred Mann himself. And this is for the letter M, Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Nightingales and Bombers, the name of that one. All right, letter N, back up to Canada. This is a little alternative indie from 1987, I believe. Yeah, I would have been a freshman in college, living it up. And of course, centered around front woman Maria Del Mar. Used to go to a club in Toronto called RPM, and she actually worked there. They used to have a cigarette girl walking around, kind of retro, with the, she'd have the strap with the tray, holding the packs of smokes. And yeah, and she was also in this band, National Velvet. They had this and one more after this, and then that was Splitsville for them. I don't have a follow-up to this, but this is a pretty solid debut. I remember at the time it was played a lot on campus radio at the time, certainly not on commercial FM. But the single from this, and there's a pretty decent video for it called Flesh Under Skin, and the other single from this one's a song called Change My Mind. So yeah, I wonder if someone I know that might have this might be in his exhaustive collection is Brian over at the Embryonic Robot. So anyway, yeah, and by the way, Brian, looking forward to seeing you next week. Run the gauntlet on Spin on This with Gary, Physical Format Rock and Roll, and of course, Steve from All the World's a Stage, Steve being the host channel of that great program. It's really, I haven't seen the Nielsen ratings, but I know it's probably climbing. in viewership. People are talking about it. It's something. Right, letter O, Ozzy Osbourne and the Randy Rhoads tribute. This was culled mostly from a concert in 1981 in Cleveland, Ohio. Gary, were you there? But it didn't get released. It was posthumously released around 1986, 87. And it's just called Randy Rhoads Tribute. Of course, it's featuring Randy Rhoads, and there he is up there. Arguably one of the best guitarists in the heavy metal genre. And of course, this one's another one that's loaded. Mr. Crowley, Crazy Train, Suicide Solution, Children of the Grave, they do a version of that. Of course, that's a Black Sabbath song. Same with Paranoid is on here. And let's see what's on the inside here. There's a nice shot of Randy Rhoads right there. So yeah, of course it was on CBS. So yeah, Ozzy Osbourne for the letter O. Letter P, one-off supergroup. It's Power Station, centered around lead vocalist Robert Palmer, Andy Taylor from Duran Duran, Tony Thompson's the drummer. He was in a band called Chic. Really, Chic was more of a dance electronic, but the guy really pounds the skins on this one. The drums are really great, especially on Bang a Gong, the T-Rex cover they do on this. It's really good. I mean, there's some filler on this, but Some Like It Hot is another great single that was, a top 40 single from this at the time. And the other guy in the band, it's another guy named John Taylor on bass. I don't know if he's related to Andy Taylor. I don't know. But they have similar hairstyles. So there's Andy Taylor, of course, from Duran Duran. It's Tony Thompson. And there's Robert Palmer right there. I'm a big Robert Palmer fan. Have a bunch of Robert Palmer albums as well. So that's why I bought this at the time. And I don't know if these guys, if it was Robert Palmer just played solo at Live Aid in 85, or if these guys did their thing too. I'd have to go back and look at my Live Aid DVD set. But anyway, this is Power Station for the letter P. On to the letter Q. Not a lot of Q's going on. I didn't have a lot to choose from, but I've got a pile of Queen, and this is probably one of my favorites. This is a double live album from 1978. I think it's 1978 anyway, 79. I'm off by a year. Live Killers. So just a really cool collage of the band live. There's Freddie there. He looks like he just walked out of a Village People video in that outfit. Leather and studs. But yeah, just awesome. They're just at their peak here, in my opinion. And then they would follow this up with the studio album, The Game, of course, in 1980, which was kind of a reset from the 70s Queen in my mind. But yeah, I'm looking for Steve Carlson in the vinyl community. He did a Queen thing. I saw it pop up the other day, and I've got that on my things to watch list. Steve said he's in the headline of it. It's kind of like a love or hate relationship with Queen. And on the studio albums, yes, I was listening to the album Jazz the other day, and it's some of it, I have to skip some songs. It's some of it's just, it gets on my nerves. But this is a solid set list. And of course, like I said, it's a double album. Let's see. Kind of skimped on the inner sleeves here, just the green thing. Yeah, this is a cool, the Elektra logo. And there's Brian May right there and his guitar in the center there. Yeah, really neat. Yeah, and there's Freddie Mercury on the other side. So that's Queen. Live Killers for the letter Q. And yeah, I mean, they're all here. We Will Rock You, Let Me Entertain You, Killer Queen. Yeah, it's Bohemian Rhapsody, of course. And they close it out, actually, side 4 with God Save the Queen. Of course they do. Good, solid Brits. All right, letter R. I've just about had it with this pile falling over. Thank God I'm at the end of the alphabet. This is some alternative indie from Boston, actually. Little did I know when I bought this in high school, I'd actually end up living in Boston someday. Life's full of irony, isn't it? But the name of this one, it's called Scenic View. Yeah, Scenic Views right here. And yeah, they female lead singer, the name escapes me. They were around the same period, sort of as, what's the band? Till Tuesday with Amy Mann. They were playing the same clubs around Boston at the time. The Nervous Eaters was another band that was active around that time, mid-'80s, early 80s. So they did this one and a follow-up. I don't have the follow-up, but this has a couple of good moments. The Hardest Thing is a really good song. You could look that one up if you want. Need You, Need Me is another one too. And Walking After Midnight is good too. I haven't looked at this in a long time. But I was trying to show stuff today that, yeah, letter R. I didn't want to show Rush. That's pretty predictable. Oh yeah, this is neat. It's like a, remember the Viewmaster things? You people that are as old as me would know what I'm talking about, where you had the little click, little toy, and you could look at the different slides. This looks like the inner, like a Viewmaster slide right there. So that's Rubber Rodeo, scenic views, hailing from right here in Boston. All right, letter S. S, and it's also a Scottish band from Edinburgh. This is the Shop Assistants. They only did one album. 1986 was the release. I have this 3-song EP. I bought it for the one song. It's called Somewhere in China. Kind of plays like a Jesus and Mary Chain record. It's got that kind of distortion, but not as heavy. It's certainly not like a My Bloody Valentine shoegazing thing like that. Not that I'm dismissive of that, but I prefer this kind of sound like the Jesus and Mary Chain. And there's the singer right there, that gal right there. So they split after the one album and apparently went their separate ways. A couple of them went back to university. It just wasn't very big, but I heard this somewhere on college radio at the time, and I purchased this. This would have been a British import, or Scottish import for that matter, at the time, in my younger days. It's just a really beautiful song, Somewhere in China. And I don't even know this label they're on. 53rd and 3rd is the name of the label. Some indie thing. It's right there on the inside. I like looking at those cool old indie labels that are probably, obviously most of them defunct. But anyway, yeah, it's the Shop Assistants. There they are. 3-song EP featuring the track Somewhere in China for the letter S. Funny I mentioned T-Rex earlier with that cover of Bang a Gong. Here we are. This is The Slider. This is a legendary album featuring, of course, lead singer Mark Bolan. Another one that's no longer with us. This is great. Metal Guru, Rock On, the title track, The Slider is great. Telegram Sam. If you know the band Bauhaus, they do a very good cover of Telegram Sam. That's another one you could look up. And yeah, I would have bought this one too. I remember right around the time when CDs were a new thing. Just the plain CD, silver there. T-Rex, The Slider, very basic. And nothing, there's the original cover there, but no photos, just looks like just the lyrics on the inside. So the letter T, and that's going to be T-Rex right there. All right. Drums and bass, people, hit the clubs. It's Underworld. The release date on this one, I want to say 1996, and I was doing the clubs at this time. So grab a glow stick. It's Underworld. The name of this one, Second Toughest in the Infants. You can see it down there in the print. This is just a lot of loops, drums and bass, kind of DJ-ish stuff, kind of in the same vein as Massive Attack, if you like that. You definitely would dig Underworld. And this is Underworld. I can never spit this title out. Second Toughest in the Infants, 1996, for the letter U. U is for Underworld. Here we go into the V's. It's the Velvet Underground right here with the late great Lou Reed right down in the center. This is their 3rd album. For whatever reason, it was self-titled. You can see it's just called Velvet Underground. Right there. On the inside, this is an original pressing, American pressing. This would be in my most valuable if it didn't have that annoying writing in the corner there. This was from a collection I got, but the record itself's in great condition. You can see right there on MGM. Beginning to See the Light, I'm Set Free. That's the Story of My Life. Yeah, it's a mellow album by Velvet Underground standards, kind of contemplative. Nothing too upbeat here, but it's definitely, throw that on, do some chilling. And again, it's Velvet Underground for the letter V, self-titled, 1969, the release date on that one. And like I do, people, I'm all over the map with the genres. Today's no exception. Heading down to Brazil for the great B3 organ master, Walter Wanderley. This is him and his trio. And of course, he was Brazil's #1 organist. So funny story of this guy, Tony Bennett, and I'm also a fan of Tony Bennett, the lounge lizard that I am. He was down touring in Brazil, and he met Walter Wanderley in Rio de Janeiro, probably in 1966-ish, and he encouraged him to come to Los Angeles, and then he did that, and he recorded with Creed Taylor. Creed Taylor was well known in the jazz world as a producer, and I don't know if Creed produced this one, because I think this was before the move to the United States, But this is Walter Wanderley Brazilian blend. And it's a blend of this beautiful woman and this Brazilian coffee for whatever reason. It's just hilarious with all these bossa nova guys. They just throw some beautiful woman on the cover and assumed it would help sell records, which I guess it would because the audience was predominantly men. But there she is. She's looking pretty good. Makes me want to have a coffee. But anyway, what do we got on here? Version of Red Roses for a Blue Lady, just for tonight. I'll do the Samba with You, her. Go-Go theme, that's fun. Yeah, and I probably got 3 or 4 Walter Wanderley albums. And he was a good friend of the Brazilian jazz guitarist, Joe Gilberto. His wife, of course, was Astrid Gilberto, that did vocals with some Stan Getz bossa nova stuff. And Astrid did an album with Walter Wanderley. It's called Same Kind of Smile, I want to say. I have that in my collection too. A certain kind of sadness, a certain smile, a certain kind of sadness, something like that. If you look up Smile on Walter Wanderley and Astrid Gilberto, it'd come up. If you like bossa nova, it's essential. So that's Brazilian blend, if you will, right there. Walter Wanderley for the letter W. All right, this wasn't too tough because I only have like 3 records with bands with X, and this is the band X from Los Angeles. Of course, featuring the great Exene Cervenka on lead vocals, Billy Zoom on guitar, John Doe too on bass, but I can't think of the drummer's name. Doesn't matter. What is his name? DJ Bonebreak. That's right. And DJ Bonebreak on drums and percussion. So what we're talking about here is this is a 12-inch single. It's a cover of the Trogs, Wild Thing, and then on side 2, it's an X original. It's True Love Part 2. Both of these songs are outstanding. I bought this, of course, when this came out. It's 1984. They're on Elektra right there. Of course, they were on Elektra because they were involved with Ray Manzarek. Was one of their early people that got them into the bit. Well, got them signed, I believe, to Elektra to begin with. And he was involved with production on a couple of X albums too. Ray Manzarek, of course, keyboard player from The Doors. And this is X for the letter X, Wild Thing. All right, we're almost there, people. Little country and western like I do. And it's the great Dwight Yoakam. I call him the mayor of Bakersfield, California. I want to say this is his 2nd studio album. And of course, this one's called Hillbilly Deluxe. There he is. He's looking pretty Hillbilly Deluxe right there. Little Ways, Smoke Along the Track. Reading, Writing, Route 23. This Drinking Will Kill Me. Little Sister. I mean, this one's a good one too. Front to back, every track. Of course, from the CD library of yours truly. And there on the inside, just the plain CD. Let's see what's on the inside, if there are any photos. No, just a bunch of liner notes. But again, letter Y, that's going to be Dwight Yoakam, Hillbilly Deluxe. Finally, we're in the home stretch. It's Frank Zappa, Joe's Garage. I am not a huge Frank Zappa fan. I just bought this at the time because I like that song, Crew Slut. And there's another, Catholic Girls is kind of funny, and the Central Scrutinizer, but I would never sit through both CDs of this back to back. And I won't sell it because I wouldn't get anything for it now. They're not, CDs are just, they're not getting a lot of money for those in the shops. Although I did see a lot of people selling CDs at that last record show I went to in January. I was quite surprised. And I will pick up a CD, $3 or $4 and it's in good condition. I don't care. I'm not a snob like that. This is a reissue on Ryko disc from around 88, 89. The original came out, I want to say 1979 was the original. Of course, this was reissued 1987 on Ryko disc. And it's Frank Zappa, double album. Of course, acts 1, 2, and 3 of Joe's Garage. And that's the letter Z or Z for my friends in the Great White North. I'm exhausted, but that was fun. So please, I'd be remiss if I didn't say it one more time. Get over there and subscribe to Doug Anderson's channel. Doug does a good job. He's very relaxed. Your blood pressure won't jump. Doug keeps it real chill. I like it. So get over there, and I highlighted this photo because he was holding the album Boston. And of course, I'm MGK Boston, so what the hell, right? So folks, we're heading out of town for a wedding next weekend. I probably won't be doing any videos for a couple of weeks. So I hope you can hold on, hold your suspense, if you will, and wait for my next video. But this should make up for it. I'm coming in around half an hour with this one. So anyway, there's Doug Anderson. Subscribe to his channel and tell him MGK Boston sent you. And the last thing I'm going to tell you to do is have a good weekend.